Now it's time to break it.
And we're back! Woo! Guys, this is Booky Booky. This is our movie book club episode. This week we had Natural Born Killers, which was Aaron's pick. Oh, and if you like that movie, like talking about movies, like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification button so you can be up to date on all of our latest videos, whether it's sports, video games, movies, movie bookie, or top 10 lists.
Which are going to cover a bunch of different things. We'll do some sports lists coming up. Yeah. Top 10 sports in the world. In the world!
Yeah, I like headball.
Football will make that.
Might not. For some
football.
I'll look up all the dangerous.
It's your
sports.
Favorite top 10
my
sports.
favorite.
Yeah.
Okay. That'd be a good list. I'm gonna find some ancient non-played
American
sports.
Gladiator.
Extreme Tag.
Roman Gladiator.
So, this week, like you said, we had Natural Born Killers, which was not as good as the movie we had last week.
Nothing will be, ever again.
Let's,
Cats will forever reign.
Had everybody seen this movie previously?
Nope, this was my first time.
My first time.
Good.
So let's start with one of you guys. Who wants to
Start
go?
with both of you guys. Gavin, thoughts on this movie?
That's gonna pick up.
Yep.
That is gonna rumble.
Welcome to our Rumble Pack.
That's what I think about this movie. Not really. It was fun. So I thought so I wrote a little. I just been writing.
Yeah, I saw
notes
you writing
down.
your book.
Yeah. I was like, I kept it short though. So I thought Natural Born Killers is a crime mockumentary that manages to blend celebrity-like coverage and true crime. And it's kind of, and that I thought the characterables were. Characterables. I thought the characterables were unlikable, but I thought the main characters were empathetic. You could at least understand where they're getting their motivations from. Not to say it's right what they were doing or anything like that. I thought that the relying on filter changes and cuts to imagery is disorientating, and I believe that it was just to keep the viewer uncomfortable because it seems ultimately unnecessary in a lot of the shots. Some of it makes sense, but like the constant going back and forth between black and white and like the Raging Bull filter and going to the fucking. Some of it made sense. Some of it didn't make any fucking sense. It seems like it was just made to be disorientating. But in the end, I thought that Natural Born Killers is a 90s, like I said, a 90s crime mockumentary that showcases how violence is inherent in the system, but it is a lot of fun to watch.
So yeah, you hit a lot of the points that I was gonna hit. Almost all of them actually.
Yeah, I like trying to keep it like condensed.
I agree. The filters and the constant like camera shake was uncomfortable. What I was kind of deciphering from that is like the animated versions of them being all muscular and stuff. That was how the media was trying to make them look to the general audience like superheroes almost. Which they're not. I don't agree with that. The black and white's more romantic, so that's probably how they were seeing themselves. And then yeah, you had the normal everyday just plain color on filters, which was what was happening. I thought it was a great study on how the media makes serial killers look to us. Like Robert Downey Jr. played a really sleazy guy who was blowing us up and trying to become popular.
Romanticizing
it.
Because it's sold.
There's a lot of great actors in it, and the way the movie used them as their characters made me dislike everyone in this movie. Not like in a general sense, like I'm not gonna go watch their movies again, but more like I felt dirty, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that was totally the intent.
Yeah.
In one of my notes here, with Robert Downey Jr. starts in that interview that he does with Mickey Knox, who's played by Woody Harrelson. Mickey Knox says that he's a missionary killer, and he believes that God put him on Earth to do that. Personally, I don't think that's right. I don't know if you follow any true crime, you guys. I know your significant others do. But there's generally 4 different kinds of serial killers. You have the missionary killer, which is what he's saying he is. There's the power control, which I think he is. He seems that he kills the most when he feels like he's in power or when he loses control. That's why he kills when he's on the Fiatu trip. He loses control of the situation. So his first reaction was to lash out with violence. That felt like it gave him control over the situation again. But I was like, I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if, because serial killers do that sometimes. They say like God told them to do that, and there are some serial killers that are missionary killers that kill for for either religious reasons or otherwise. Like it's their mission to do it.
Yeah.
But if that was what they're really wanting to portray him as, or is him just lying because he's a serial killer, I don't know. He doesn't come off as a missionary killer because he kills wantonly, and he does it whenever he feels like he's powerful or when he loses control of a situation.
Yeah, I get that. One thing that I also took away from this movie is it seems like this influenced other movies and how they were approached for characters. Like, I feel like this was, whether or not it's true or not, it felt like it would influence how Harley Quinn and the Joker are portrayed in live action movies. That I got that vibe a lot. And being Woody Harrelson, who was also cast as Cletus Cassidy in Venom vs. Carnage, I felt he approached the role very similar to this. How he approached this role. There's a lot of similarities, especially the first half of that movie versus this movie.
I agree with that. I did like the movie though. I know it sounds like I'm saying negative things about it. It's not. It's just kind of.
We're actually thinking about it and dissecting it.
I was like,
You guys are analyzing the crap out of it.
I do know that a little bit.
This is what I want to get into, though.
When I ran to the bathroom before we started recording, I looked a little bit at. It's like, did you know this movie's has been banned in a lot of places in there?
There were a lot of not a lot, but enough copycat killings that were copycatted from this movie.
Mm-hmm.
That gave it a lot of bad publicity, obviously.
Yeah,
Over a dozen.
It's controversial, and I think that
At
really.
least that were attributed to it.
And I think it really highlights the point that media can influence how people see that as. I'm not saying that video games cause people to kill things, because that's not true. But I think constantly getting desensitized to violence to such a degree that it's just normal to see, and then glamorizing those responsible definitely what you were saying definitely makes it.
What's easier? Becoming an actor or actress, going to Hollywood and making it big?
Or killing 10 people.
Yeah. Becoming a serial killer. That's probably easier.
I was like,
not that you should do
no,
that.
absolutely not.
That's not the intent.
I was like, and I've seen it a lot in the
Zach's going to prison.
I was like, I've also seen a lot in more recent years. I'd say probably in the past 3 or 4 years, true crime has been a lot harsher on the criminal.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to focus more on the victims, which I think is the absolute correct way to go about writing.
Yeah, they're not
issues
sensationalizing
No,
it like
but-
the 90s media.
Yeah,
was.
90s was like Charles Manson was a god. Fucking.
What this whole
Catch us
movie
after the
was
Super
about.
Bowl.
Right, and that's what I gathered.
Oh,
I
Simpson.
felt like this was an entire
Yeah,
expose
this
on how
movie was
media was
definitely
just.
satire on how the media was.
That's why I called it mockumentary.
Yeah.
because it's jarring, and again, I think part of that jarringness is to keep you off balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the cast was all really well picked.
Can we talk about Tommy
Lee
Jones and his Ace Ventura hairstyle?
Oh, so good.
I thought he was high on coke.
It was either Ace
Ventura.
Ventura or he blew up. He escaped Whoville, got a nose job, and became a prison guard.
Fuck yeah.
I was like, I thought
Warden.
Warden.
Yeah.
Warden.
I thought
You gotta start at the bottom and get to the top.
I like how the warden was portrayed as so unhinged and just
Mhm.
immediately prone to violence.
I felt like
every time.
did Batman Forever come out before this or after this?
After.
So he
That
probably
was
went from.
95-ish.
I feel like he went from this role and went right into Two-Face.
It probably was right after.
Like, I'm not changing anything. I'm just gonna keep this crazy.
Yep.
Um,
Coked up persona.
for me, we talked about this a little bit while we were watching the movie. This was originally written by Quentin Tarantino, but he couldn't find anybody to make the movie. So he sold the rights for $10,000.
To Oliver Stone.
Obviously, what they've done to the movie after that is not probably exactly what he wrote.
No, but you can definitely
But
see
you can
Quentin
see-
Tarantino's DNA. in
And
this.
he is my favorite director of all time. Every movie I've ever seen that he has done, I absolutely love. I love the way that he touches on subjects. Even at the beginning of this movie, and you see it a lot later with Mallory's personality, a lot of it is like this sense of still kind of being a child because she didn't have that childhood because of the way that she was treated by her parents. The way that she like had to be told that people loved them and cared about her, even though after they would do that she would kill them because that's what she did to her parents. But it really touches on that mental illness aspect of it. And then like you guys were saying, the biggest takeaway from this movie that I absolutely love, and I talk about it with my fiance quite a bit, is this whole media sensationalizing killers thing. And it's a very big issue, especially, I don't know about outside this country, but in this country it is a humongous issue.
Like school shooters.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's changed a lot, which I think is good, because it needs to be done differently. But, like, school shooters, before, like, I was like, I don't remember their names, because I try to make a point not to remember any school shooters, but I do know that, like, Columbine killers were kind of lofted up. I mean, they were dead, so they never got any, like...
You got to experience it.
They didn't get experiences, which is good, but, like, nowadays... I know, I was like, I know more of the victims. I don't know very many of them, but I don't know who committed the crime, which I think is the correct way of doing it.
100%. And I love that that's what this whole movie is kind of touching on. Like, like even in the background and stuff, like you see when they're in the hotel, when Mallory and Mickey are in the hotel room, you see flashes on the window of the hotel room of like news reports and stuff on the background of that window. And it's just that kind of imagery, especially in Tarantino movies, that just absolutely blow me away. Because it's stuff like that you don't see anywhere else.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that like you have to pay attention
Yeah,
to.
you need to watch this movie a dozen times
this is
to
a
pick
movie
everything up.
Yeah, exactly. And I've seen it probably a dozen times, and there was still stuff where I was like, damn.
You brought up a character that shows up in the
Yeah,
restaurant.
there's a character, Owen. So looking into it, he's a guardian angel or a guardian demon is what the fan base call him. But he shows up throughout the film. He's the one that helps them escape at the end.
Yeah.
In an alternate cut, there's a different ending to this film in the director's cut where he ends up killing both of them at the end after they escape. So in this version, they all escape and get away with it. There's the other version where they do not. Well, they get away with it, but then he kills them. But he's a reoccurring character. I spotted him a couple times today.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know. He's not really explained in the film.
Just
a deep dive. I'm sure on the internet people have really dove into this, and that's
I want
just
to see
what
if
I'm
like Oliver
skimming
Stone
through.
has actually said anything about it.
Yeah.
they leaned real heavily into the imagery in this.
Yeah.
And I noticed the imagery. I thought the imagery, like you were saying, is very quick, very Tarantino-esque.
Oh, yeah.
And very well done. I didn't think the imagery was misplaced, like when they were doing the cuts and stuff. All that made sense. It was just for me, the disorienting part was...
I feel like this
cut.
movie came out exactly how Oliver Stone wanted it to.
But it's not how Tarantino wanted it.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, who knows
speaks
what
out
was
against
cut
it.
or changed.
Well, and Oliver Stone's son is her brother at the beginning of the movie.
The kid in the Kiss makeup.
Yeah. Fun facts. I've been looking up fun facts.
Other fun facts. Well, you got them right there.
I got a couple. Almost all the prisoners in the prison taking place in the riot were in fact real inmates of that prison, with over 80% of them doing hard time for violent crimes.
So yeah, all the convicts you see are real cons.
And that was shot at a real like
prison.
penitentiary.
I was like, and they...
Then Oliver Stone cast Woody Harrelson primarily because his father was a convicted murderer and hitman. And he could see that killer look in Woody's eyes, and it scared him, but he instantly thought it was perfect for this role.
I just wet myself, but you're hired.
But you got the job. Security, stay with me, please.
Please don't leave me.
Yeah, it's...
Those are the only ones I
This is
know
the most.
of.
This is probably the most controversial and probably the most analytic we've gotten on this movie Booky Booky so far.
This, like I was saying
This is
earlier,
the first one to touch on any real subjects.
other than cat butts. But this is the kind of stuff I like, and I want us to get into. Like kind of like analyze it as we're watching it. Write down notes. I didn't have my laptop today or a notebook, but I want to eventually get one for the next one and do the same thing Gavin was doing, because I did it for Wild Wild West, despite the fact that I saw it.
Yeah.
But like random thoughts you have during the movies, and
Yeah, it's good to take some notes.
I love my favorite type of movies of all time are biographies, because I love seeing especially like I watched the O.J. Simpson thing that came out on HBO, and it was just so interesting to see all these people talk about O.J.'s mindset and stuff like that in the 90s. And
Yeah.
I mean, comedies are obviously what I watch the most because that's the most. They have so many different comedy movies out there, but documentaries are my favorite. That's why I think I like Tarantino, because even though they aren't documentaries, these aren't events that, were happening. He really dives into stuff that is still relevant even to this day. Even his movies that came out in the 90s, a lot of that shit is still relevant, 30 years later.
Yeah, they're good commentaries.
One last fun fact. Director Oliver Stone wanted singer Tori Amos to play the role of Mallory.
Yeah.
She was interested in the role until Oliver told Tori that he also wanted to use her song "A Gun in Me" to play every time Mallory kills somebody. The song was to account of Tori's real-life rape. Tori responded by slapping Oliver in the face and walking away. So,
Understandable.
understandably.
yeah.
This movie, you're right. You're not supposed to like any of the characters in this movie. You're not supposed to walk away being like, I'm
and
really
you're
glad the
supposed
heroes
to feel
won.
uncomfortable.
And kinda
throughout. That's
gross
where the
and-
cuts are.
yeah.
You're supposed to be uncomfortable start to finish.
I-
You're not supposed to be sitting there getting into it and like, oh, I'm feeling really great about this right now.
No, I thought my favorite scene, and I use the word favorite loosely, was the snake bite scene with the green filter. That made sense to me. That filter change made sense. They're poisoned. They're trying to get through it. Everything else, but this is really the first time in the movie that you see Mickey lose control of the situation entirely.
Oh yeah.
First with killing the Indian, like I mentioned earlier, he's a powered. I think he's a powered control killer. Every time he loses control, he starts killing. But like, he's always left witnesses, and usually, and this is the first time in the movie, and he never does it again. He never leaves a witness alive after that point, if he can help it. And I thought that was like it's the first time where it's really shown like the mental shift of both Valerie and wait, can I remember her name?
Mickey and Mallory.
Mickey. I kept wanting to call him Cletus, and I knew it was wrong.
Cletus Cassidy.
Yeah, it's like it's uncomfortable. But I like the snake bite scene because it's like he's a monster the whole movie, but it's the most you see him.
Most vulnerable.
You see him, and also the most terrifying you see him. He doesn't fuck around. He's freaking the fuck out, and and he truly believes he's dying. So he gets a little.
I'll be shocked if at the end of this year, because we're gonna do. I think we started a little bit late, so there'll probably be 49 or 50 of these by the time we're done. I'll actually be shocked if this movie isn't in my top 10 for these movie Booky Bookies, and that just goes back to, I mean, even in my childhood. I watched this movie, I say childhood loosely. I was probably 13 or 14 the first time I watched this film. And I remember watching it and being so entranced by what was going on, and it's really... It like makes me think about things, and even back then when I was a kid, it made me open up my mind to the idea of like showing the way the media shows things off to the public, and makes me think about stuff like that. So I absolutely love it, and yeah, I'll be shocked if it's not my top 10. We're gonna have to have.
It's a really good movie, and it's very different from stylistically. The whole approach is very different from anything else you'll see.
And like I said, when it got banned, they said there was a copycat murders. I think banning it was the wrong move.
Usually is.
Because all that did was...
And I haven't looked into those murders, and were they really because of this movie, or were
they just assholes that just picked something violent to play?
and were people just blaming... Because the 90s was real big about pointing the finger at media. So was this a victim of that, or were these truly inspired by the movie?
Part of that is because...
I don't know.
And part of that is Ted Bundy. because he did interviews like what he did with. Again, this is why I thought when not Cletus, Jesus fucking Christ,
When Cletus
Mickey,
Cassidy.
when Mickey is having an interview and he says he's doing it because God told him, Ted Bundy did the exact same thing, and he even admitted that he was fucking lying through his teeth for that interview. He just wanted to make it. He just wanted to
Be famous.
cause discord. He wanted to cause a little bit of discord because that's a lot of the reasons now. It's honestly a lot of the reasons now we have people that are saying like video games are causing that, blaming media when and like and media does play a part in it. Don't get me wrong, but like just watching something violent is not going to make you go do something violent. People are going to do something violent, or probably people are going to do something violent.
Yeah, I don't
They're
know,
using
I don't
it
know.
as an excuse.
I've been playing
When I
GTA
watch-
since I was like 10 years old. Man.
When I watch
Better
Never
watch
Back
out.
Down, I kind of want to go out and punch somebody in the face. I'm just that pumped up.
That movie does fire me up.
Yeah, that's a good one for that.
But
I don't know what it is about that
Um,
movie.
But yeah, this one was good. I don't know where it would rank out of the movies we watched so far.
Yeah,
we've had some. We've
It's not
had some
gonna be
good
last
ones.
for me. It's definitely not gonna be last.
It's not going to be above Cats, but
Yeah,
It's gonna be above
don't-
Cats.
I also don't think it'll be above Cats. I also don't know if I'd put it above The Gentleman. But
No.
that'll be really, really fun when we are all
Oh,
done with
yeah.
this and we can go through the list, all the movies we watched.
and
in the year.
especially when we have had time to digest them and don't have any recency bias. Just looking at that total list.
Real quick before we get to the next movie, Booky Booky. Out of 10, what would you guys rate this movie?
Out of 10, I'd probably give it a 7.
yeah,
Yeah, it's probably where I'd fall.
See,
Because I do really like this movie.
but
But again, it's a movie I watched when I was young.
Yeah. And it's a movie nowadays. Watching through it again, I can definitely see some flaws in it.
Oh yeah, but
it's
which
solid
again, it's
a
a
little bit,
film
but-
from
Yeah,
1994.
exactly.
Looking at it with all the cuts in mind and like how jarring it is, it feels like a 6 to me.
Yeah.
But when you analyze it and you actually think about it, 7.5-ish for me.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think that feels right.
Yeah, it feels right.
Because yeah, like with the cuts and stuff, like my gut feeling, like knee jerk when I first started watching it, I was fucking confused.
It was like a serial killer SNL for a little bit.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I kind of hate it right now. It all came together, and it made a lot more
Yeah.
sense, and I get why they did. It just
That hits the nail on the head for me. That's how I felt. watching
like
it.
at first I was like, I kind of fucking hate this
Yeah,
worse.
it's
I hate this.
very jarring. But
At first
if
I was
I
like,
think of that film laid out with just normal camera, none of the filters, none of the cuts, like it just wouldn't have that same. I wouldn't have those same feelings
Yeah,
that they're putting
exactly.
there
and
if it was just normal.
yeah, like like in the first 5 minutes, I fucking hated it. I thought it was like probably like a 2. I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but everyone else seems to think it's badass. As it got on and like the cuts made more sense and everything else, 7. If I didn't give a shit about the story, I probably would put it at like a 4.
And
or
again,
5.
it's a movie you need to watch more than once.
Yeah, and
Because I've seen this movie a dozen times now and still
Catching things.
catching things.
Yeah.
And if I watched it, and didn't wait 10 years to watch it again, I'd catch more.
Yeah.
it's
Now you're just catching stuff you caught on the first time.
Yeah,
It's like you're watching a whole new movie.
pretty much.
So we've started our rotation. For those of you that, if this is your first episode watching this, we are on a specific rotation. It started with me, went to Aaron, Gavin, and then Zach. This is our second go through.
Yeah, so this is Booky Booky, or movie Booky Booky number 6. We just started doing these as separate episodes. So if you want to see the previous 5, they are attached to the movie episodes. They're usually at the end of the
Yep.
episodes. But you can go up, catch up with those. Yeah.
So this was Aaron's.
What are our movie Booky Bookies? What have we gone through? If
I
actually
people
have a
haven't
list.
watched those.
Let me see if I can get them. Wild Wild West went to you, and you picked
You know this.
Data.
Goonies. Okay. Then I went to Gavin. He picked Little Monsters. Zach picked The Gentleman. Came back to me. I picked Cats. You picked Natural Born Killers. It is now Gavin's turn.
And what are you picking for your second turn?
This was originally what I was going to pick when it was my turn the first time for Little Monsters, but I like Little Monsters a lot. I don't want to watch that with everybody. My choice this week is Velocipaster.
Fuck yeah!
Have any of you seen it?
No, but it's on my watch
I've seen
list.
parts of it.
Oh, he's not.
Okay.
I don't know how to feel about it, but
Okay, I will say this. Okay, they had a budget of $36,000. Okay, it's not anywhere near as good as Kung Fury was, but they're a limited budget. Kung Fury is a fucking standout. But
Yeah.
what they did with that budget for that movie is impressive. The whole movie.
It's on Amazon Prime for free.
It is. The whole movie, I kept going when I watched the first time. This was a few years ago. When I watched the first time, I put it on and through it, I was like, I can't tell if they're fucking with me. Like, you know when you watch a movie and you can tell, like, when the director or whatever, or people behind it, like, believe it's a serious movie, you know, and it gives it that serious air and everything like that. And, like, sometimes joking, like, Sharknado kind of had that, like, undertone of, like, we're not taking this very seriously.
Yeah.
Velocipaster managed to play right in between that, where you can't tell if they're fucking with you or not.
Do you guys want a synopsis?
Sure.
Yeah, let's run we should probably do that every week.
Here, I'll read it. This is my pick.
All right.
I actually have pulled up because they made enough money off of it that they got to make they're making a sequel that's supposed to come out I think this year or next year called Outback Vampire, which is about a gay school a lesbian school teacher teaming up with an adventure girl to save her girlfriend from a horde of like it sounds fucking ridiculous. But anyway, so yeah, Velocipaster. So after losing his parents, a priest travels to China, where he inherits a mysterious ability that allows him to turn into a dinosaur. Although he is horrified by the new power, a hooker convinces him to use it to fight crime. And the end of the movie is like...
No spoilers.
no spoilers. I'm excited to watch this with you all.
I'm excited to finally have a reason to watch it.
Yeah, this is a good reason to actually watch this.
It's actually not as bad as you think. I have... Like, you know, there's bad movies and, like, good bad movies and, like, enjoyable bad movies.
Oh, yeah.
This is firmly in the enjoyable category.
So I'm not expecting to have a very deep character discussion or, like, background.
It's hard because yes and no. Again, you can't tell if they're fucking with you. That's the whole thing. That's the biggest takeaway. And that's what I always tell people. It's fun to watch. But you cannot tell if they're serious or not the entire movie. They do such fucking goofy shit so serious and do such serious shit so fucking like weird. I don't know. Did you look it up?
No.
Don't look it up because
I'm not. I won't spoil anything.
I was like, I only say that because you don't see what the Velociraptor looks like until the end, and you want to.
I've already spoiled it.
Yeah, you spoil yourself.
I
You
have
don't
to.
see it, and the movie is short, hour and 15 minutes. But yeah, Velocipaster.
Watch it with us on your own.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Free on Amazon Prime.
All right, guys.
Thanks for the plug.
That was awesome. I'm still jumping back and forth on mine. I'm the week after you, so
Yep.
Same. I have a list. And
I have
it
3
jumps around.
that I want. Like I jump around.
I'm think I'm gonna stick to a theme of movies that are universally hated that I am hoping that none of us have seen. So, Cats was a good pick last week, so we're gonna find something else that was universally hated. That's how I'm gonna pick all my movies.
I was like, I'm probably gonna pick probably lesser known, good bad or entertaining bad movies.
bad movies.
Like he's gonna probably go bad movies, and then we're gonna get like actual fucking recommendations from you guys.
That's kind
I
of how
will do
was.
actual, and then I also have some bad
Yeah, 'cause
bad movies.
I was like,
I want to be the palate cleanser that like actually gets us thinking, like enjoying movies like The Gentleman. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. Because one of my picks later on, I don't know when I'm going to pick it, I'm going to pick Rubber. I know most of you have seen it.
We've all seen
I
it.
think we
I
all
guess.
saw it.
I've made you all see it.
I've not seen it.
Were you
Really?
there that night?
No, I think I was at work when you guys were watching. I think I came in at the last scene.
And Rubber,
I mean, I like the movie.
you can analyze it for
It's
some
enjoyable.
reason. Like, there's there's deeper meaning if you really choose to put the effort in, but it's...
We'll get to it.
It's-
We'll get
It'll be
there.
down the road.
So, Velocipaster next week. Natural Born Killers this week. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend anybody who hasn't seen it to watch it. It is a very good film. This is fantastic.
That was my stomach.
Jeez, girl, that got picked up.
I'm hungry.
All right.
Outside of that, as we always finish the episode, Zach does film reviews on his Twitter's, Instagram, and on his TikTok at
Film Beast.
Gavin plays a lot of video games, guys. You should check him out on Twitch and on Twitter at
Boobity Games.
We said it once, we're going to say it again. Like, subscribe,
And
hit that
smash that like button.
smash it, comment, and hit that notification button so you get up-to-date notifications on all our latest videos.
and let us know what you thought about Natural Born Killers if you've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Or let the three of us know what we're in store for Velocipaster if you
If
don't
you see it.
spoil it.
Yeah, try not to spoil it. 'Cause I was like, I watched a lot of bad movies that day, and it was the best bad movie of the bunch. It's time to...
Split!